why not get into chapter 1 with a little intro to chapter 1? This brings back some old geometry stuff that you may have forgotten because you probably didn't study your geometry all summer last year, right? So you've seen the sine, cosine, tangent stuff, maybe even in Algebra 1, but it is how you can find angles and sides of right triangles with trigonometry. So a common thing you might see is the phrase SOHCAHTOA. So that shows you a few things. So the first part shows you for the sine, you're going to find the sine of an angle by doing the opposite side over the hypotenuse. Great. We'll see this all in action too. The middle chunk is the cosine. So the cosine, you're going to do the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. And then the tangent is going to be the opposite side over the adjacent side. And we'll talk about all those things here in a moment. So here's how you can identify, first of all, looking at this example down here. Well, let me go ahead and scooch it down. So the easiest thing to identify is probably the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is always across diagonal from the right angle. It's always the longest side. That's your hypotenuse. Now when you're looking at an angle, like here you've got the little theta, that's that little circle with the line coming across it. It's pretty easy to see the opposite side because that's opposite that angle. We know the hypotenuse is across from the right angle, so that only leaves this side to be the adjacent. The adjacent side is always the side that's touching the angle, but isn't the hypotenuse, right? So the hypotenuse is up here, the other side would be the adjacent side. So, let's see. We'll color that one green. We'll color the hypotenuse in blue. So the sine of theta, sine was S-O-H in the SOHCAHTOA. So the sine equals the opposite side over the hypotenuse. So the opposite side was 15. The hypotenuse is 39. And then you just see if you can reduce that. 3 goes into both of those. 3 goes into 15 5 times. And 39 13 times. So that would be your final answer for the sine. And the cosine, the cosine of theta equals the adjacent side. The adjacent side is 36 over the hypotenuse. And the hypotenuse again is 39. These are both divisible by 3. 36 divided by 3 is 12. 39 divided by 3 is 13. And the last one, tangent. Let me just throw this eraser on the floor. The TOA in SOHCAHTOA is the opposite side over the adjacent side. The opposite side was 15. The adjacent side was 36. Both have factors of 3, so it becomes 5/12. Cool. Now you're going to be able to use these ratios and eventually be able to figure out what the angle is. And then you'll be able to figure out every angle and every side of all these triangles just with the trigonometric ratio stuff. So let's try this one. Let's just go ahead and I'll do the same colors. So the blue is the hypotenuse, which in this case will be 34. The green was the opposite. The opposite side of the angle down here would be 30. And then the adjacent side would be this red side with the 16. So I'm going to start the next video for this because I talked too much in this first one.